sports car driving tips brought to us by Discovery Parts. Again, Discovery Parts is your source for all your driving gear and anything you need to get yourself and your car out on track this season. So again, we're here talking today about endurance driving tips. And the one I want to talk about is seatbelt placement. And I know that sounds kind of funny. You're like, seatbelts, I make sure they work, right? Well, there are some key parts that not only to make sure you're comfortable in the car, but if you ever are in a wreck, I hope not, but if you are, that you at least go through that incident as safely as possible. And I've seen so many times when people put the seatbelts incorrectly and new models will hardly not been wearing any seatbelts at all. So again, that's what we're going to talk about today, just some basics about seatbelt placement. So here we're looking at our seatbelts. There's a couple things, especially in endurance sports car racing, you want to make sure when the drivers are getting out and getting in that you don't get all bundled up in the belts trying to dig for them. So what's nice in some series, like the Tire Rack Champ Car series, they give you a 5-minute pit stop. So this isn't such a difficulty. But if you're running a series like, say, the 24 Hours Lemons and World Racing League, they don't have minimum pit stop times. So again, you don't want to lose time in the pits just because the belts are all tied up. So let me show you a couple secrets here and tips that I want to share I've learned. So one is magnets. And you're like, what is magnets here? What are you talking about, Will? Well, I saw this probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I was watching the Creventic 24-hour series that runs in Europe. I noticed when they got out of the pits, they'd take the belts and they would put them places, and they weren't on bungee cords, which you see a lot of times. They're magnets. And of course, we all know that this is made out of metal here that's magnetic. So if you just put a little magnetic thing on the outside of your car like this, or maybe inside your car, I don't have that capability in a Boxster, but you would have that capability in, say, like a BMW or more of a sedan. And if you look up inside here, you can see that this belt here, this is the one that's most hard to attain when somebody's in the car. I have a little magnet that goes right there, and it just pulls it up. Awesome. So I like that because I do not like the bungee cords. When those bungee cords are on my shoulders, I've found that they actually get in my way when I'm driving. So I, again, don't like the bungee cords on the shoulder straps. Now, where you can have bungee cords, and we've actually taken these off because we're between races, but you can take bungee cords and strap them to your roll cages on the side so that they don't go underneath the driver's seat. So that's wonderfully helpful. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do now, I'm going to climb in and show you a couple things now of what it looks like when you're in the car. So you can see I'm in the car now. I don't have my fire suit on, but it's pretty much the same thing when you're in the car with or without your fire suit. And when you're connected in, there's a couple things I always watch for. So first off, when you're getting the belts, make sure that for all different types of drivers, you have at least enough length here, because you don't want to be in a situation where one driver runs out of space to go up, right? Or you don't want to be in a situation where the driver, and they pull down, they actually run out of stretching here. So you need to find the happy medium between your drivers when they're getting in the car. But again, you don't want to be in a situation also where they don't have enough tightening space, but you also don't want to be in a situation where it's so much extra strap here that it's just flopping around while you're driving in the car. So first off, I want to talk about what do you tighten first. And what you want to tighten first are the on your lap, okay? You do not want to be in a situation where you're tightening these first. You don't want to pull that up because, again, you're going to have that chance to slide forward in a wreck. What you want to do is take here and pull down on these belts first. And what I do is, if I'm going to be one way or another where this is tight, I make sure that it's actually a little bit pulled to the left than center. And why is that? Because I don't need my right foot that's going from brake to gas to be having the bottom of the belts here so tight over there. So again, if I'm going to be anywhere, I'm going to be off center a little bit to the left instead of off center to the right when I'm tightening them. And I just keep tightening them a little bit. And once you get them to where you're happy with the tightness along the lap, that's when you do the shoulder straps. This should be the last thing you tighten when you do it, okay? And again, I like the tighteners on the laps to be like this, where they're up here high, because I've seen a lot of times when the tighteners are down there along the belts, and guess what? That actually gets very cumbersome actually to tighten. And for larger drivers, now you've got all of that metal of the tightening right there where they're against the seat. So again, I prefer to have the tightening right up here, and again, you just make sure that you do this. And again, make sure that there's enough strap here to be sitting in. What you don't want to do is be in a position where that is pulling so far down that you actually, if you get in a wreck, it's pulling below you instead of right here into your belly button. You should be thinking the whole time, this should be right below my belly button, and this right here should be tightening right over top where my Hans device is. And that's another piece too. I've seen so many people get this all set up, at home and they don't put their Hans device on, and next thing you know, you're in a position where you're like, well, this isn't working like it was at home. Yeah, because you didn't put your helmet Hans device on before you got to the track and put your belts in. So again, these are all just little tips, but again, when you're in endurance sports car racing, you have to A, think about all the drivers, B, think about making sure your pit stops are efficient, and C, making sure if you're actually going to be in a wreck, that you're actually pulled in tight. So again, all of these are those tips I would suggest when you're looking to do that in the future. Again, thank you, Discovery Parts.